YouTube, I'm Vaughn, and this is the Gear channel where we discuss collectibles, hobbies, competitive games from tabletop to video games. And today we are finally reviewing something that a few of you guys have asked me, and that is C.O.D versus branded Despia. Now, I've seen a few have commented and wanted to see how it does with more of the higher meta decks. Now, let me tell you that when it comes to like Flunderies or branded Despia, it's pretty much whoever wins the Duel. And the only like difference is if her opponent somehow did a misplay or doesn't like go all out and we win the first game, we're guaranteed the match because our side is really focused on Flunderies, and it's very easy to actually put those towards Brandon Despia as well. So it's not really an issue with those decks, but it's pretty much like the die roll. Like if they actually play it to the T and they're all set, then it's always an issue. But for Sword Soul, this deck doesn't really have an issue against Sword Soul. Like I played against Sword Soul many times, and it's very rare that I lost to Sword Soul. Like the only way that I usually lose is if they actually make the Young Zine. That's a floodgate for all light monsters, and my opponent has a bunch of negates, and the only cards I have are actually light monsters. So it's very a specific situation, but it's not really that common. So for me to beat Soul is very easy. Against Flunderies and Brandon Despia, it's pretty much the die roll all the time. But for this, we're against Brandon Despia. But first, definitely friendly reminder to like and subscribe, and especially subscribe if you guys want to enter an amazing giveaway for the playset of Forbidden Droplet. I'll put a link in the description down below if you guys want to enter in that giveaway. Now, let's see. We are sadly going second, so this might show you a nice outcome, but there's a little plot twist. So what we have is Boot, Strike, Kage Tokage, 1-for-1, and Night Sword Serpent. So this hand is pretty bad, I'm not going to lie. Like, we could actually do a lot. Going first, we could actually do a lot. And also, if we don't have too much interruptions, there's a lot that we can do. But going second, not really. And especially, like, this is, for me, this is a hand that I actually, like break. Like, if we had one monster except Boot, like it could have been any monster. There's actually a lot of plays that we could actually do with a hand like this, but with Boot being there, it's kind of hard. Natural Serpent, instead of being in a deck, it hurts a bit. Like if we had another level 4 instead. So definitely it's not the greatest hand. So our opponent has 2 allures: Ash, Tragedy, Allure, and Fusion. So they're going to go off first. So they're going to play their nice little Allure. Okay. And they're going to banish the Tragedy, play another Allure, and they're going to go and banish their kit. Okay, now they use Branded Fusion. Very nice. Good card. Always a nice, good card. Okay. So they're going to go and summon, send, Fusion. Then use Love and Tragedy, Chainlink 2. Okay. Very nice. And now he's going to go and Fusion for a nice little Ice Mirror Jade. And then summon the Jester because he didn't know summon yet. So it's all fine. Get Brandon and Lost. And just use Ice Mirror Jade to do a setup. I'm not really too crazy about the Brandon and Lost, but it's okay. I feel like that's more of like a primary like first move. Not really second. Like, if your opponent went first and it has like a setup and everything, sure. But I don't know, for first turn, not really too crazy. I know you could get the ad. Why not? I don't know. That's my opinion. I don't play Brandon Despia, but just by looking at it, I would be like, maybe not. Comment down below what do you think of that play. So we actually go and drew into Jet Synchron, which is not so good either, but it's okay. So the first thing we're going to do is play a Strike, because if our opponent does have a hand trap, at least we could actually use Strike's effect to fool us for free. So we're going to use 1 for 1. He's going to activate Ash. Now we're going to activate Strike to actually send a nice little Nunu. So then we could use Nunu for a free special summon just like that. Now we're going to normal summon Night Sword Serpent. So I'm not really too crazy of normal summoning Night Sword Serpent. Now the reason why is because with Night Sword Serpent, usually if I special summon other ways from like grave or from its own effect or from deck, like that's fine. Normal summoning isn't that bad because if your opponent has like Torrential or Azus or something that's like gets rid of it, send it to the grave by an opponent, at least you actually get his effect and it comes back. So it's not the end of the world by normal summoning it, and especially that we have Kaguya to Okage, which is not so bad. So we're going to do that. They're going to chain red to Kaguya to Okage. And they're going to do all the shenanigans and make a Guardian Chimera. And me, I'm just praying that he's going to go and pop the Night Sword Serpent with it. I really doubt it, but that's what I'm hoping for. So he chained Chimera 1, 2 drag, and 3 is Adlib, targeting Mirror Jade. Okay, cool. Now he goes, brings the Ice Mirror Jade, and pops the Kage to Kage, which honestly is a smart play because this actually has the restriction still, so it's going to be very hard to actually get rid of it. So that's actually a really good play on his part to actually leave it. Because now we can't use Jet Synchron to bring back. But even if we brought Jet Synchron back, we can't even use Strike because it has to send the monster to the graveyard. So Jet will actually be banished instead. So we won't be able to bring back Karuto Kage. And we could bring back Karuto Kage in other like circumstance, like if this was a light monster or something, because we did properly supposed to summon it first. So sadly, we can't really do anything, so we have no choice but to admit defeat and go into game 2. So game 2, we are starting. So I did not side, so I don't really side for going first though. Not really necessary. Like my whole side is actually going second, and majority of the time I do side in all 15 cards. So what we have is Armageddon Knight, Fairy Tale Snow, Chaos Space, Monster Reborn, Rocket Tracer, and they have a Tragedy, Fusion, Opening, Fairy Tale Snow, and another Ash again. Whoo! So the plays that we're going to go first is definitely use Chaos Space. So we're going to go and send the Armageddon Knight instead. So they're going to Ash us, which is fine because now we could Monster Reborn the Armageddon Knight and plus a little bit. So we're going to be doing exactly that. So we're going to go and supposed to summon Armageddon Knight, use the effect, send the abs. Very nice. Use abs to get the recharger. And now we're going to go normal summon the recharger, link it to get the Striker Dragon, and use Striker Dragon's effect to add a boot. So now we're going to actually use Striker Dragon's effect to get the recharger, but we're not going to use the recharger's effect. Now I have another play that I want to do to abuse the recharger, and was thinking about it, but it ended up not working. When we get there, I'm going to explain everything a lot more. So we're going to go and play boot, special summon both of them. And then we're going to go and overlay the recharger Armageddon for King, and King is going to add the Naya, and then it's going to be the usual plays that you guys always see, you know, add the Naya, play the Naya, send the Curse. Curse is going to tribute the King of the Pharaoh Amps, and then it's supposed to summon the Naya, which, you know, is definitely going to add the Ogdoadic spell, and I think we're going to add the what is it? The Strike? Yeah. Because we didn't have enough reptiles, so Water Lily was out of the question. So we're going to play the Strike now. And with a board like this, we're ready to make Chaos Ruler. So we're going to go and just make Chaos Ruler. So we're going to mill 5. And we're going to go and add the Chaos Valkyrie. And we're going to overlay for a Zombie Vampire, which I'm super excited for because now we're going to mill 4 cards. Our opponent is going to mill 4 as well. And we're going to do, now this is also another misplay. So one thing that you have to know about edge imp chains, okay? It's only when he's sent to the grave from hand or field. There was so many games that people were triggering their edge imp chains that I did not realize. And zombie vampire, like in this situation, I went and decided to actually bring that back so he couldn't trigger and add and to like stop it. But then I realized like afterwards that no, like he does not get the effect at all. So always watch out if your opponent does do plays like that and decides to actually trigger the effect. It's only when it's from the hand or the field. And also, please note when you XYZ over it, it's not on the field, so it won't get the effect if you detach it. So we're going to add it. We're going to activate the strike because since we did actually send a monster from our opponent's deck to the grave, now they have to foolish. So we're going to go send the Night Sword Serpent and bring it back. Then for the king, so king is going to add. Okay. And now we're going to add the new, play the new, and send the Zora. And now we're going to go and activate Chaos Valkyrie to banish the King of the Pharaoh Imps that we used before. And then we're going to use our Chaos Space to return it so we could actually make another King of the Pharaoh Imp. So we can add more cards. Reason why we're doing that is for deck thinning. And we drew into a Kage to Kage, which is not that good. So now we're going to use the Strike to send the Fairy Tale Snow to special summon the Zora since it's a dark. And now we're going to use Nunu, special summon. We're going to overlay King of the Pharaoh Imps, very nice. Activate King of the Pharaoh Imps to go and add the King, because we did not use Zora's second effect to discard. Well, actually, we didn't use any effect of Zora, so, but we're planning on discarding it to add so we could potentially, if we need to, special summon it with first Saruja. So now we're going to use Fairy Tale Snow to go and special summon. So we're going to banish 7, special summon it, all good. And now we're going to go and link for a Saruja. Use Saruja to draw. And this is where the misplay happens, okay? So we drew into Snake Rain, Rocket Recharger, Rocket Synchro, and Reptilian Cult. So we have two plays that I'm going to tell you. So the first one is if we're sticking with the reptile stuff pretty much, and we were turning the rocket stuff, we are able to hand loop our opponent for 3 and have 1 negate. Or if we keep the rocket stuff, we could hand loop our opponent for 2 and have 2 negates. So that is the debate right now. So I decided, why don't we do the hand looping for 2 since it wasn't discarding, so we don't have to worry about triggering like too much. It's going to be more shuffling back into the deck, and then have 2 negates, and we could definitely play around that. So I want to do that approach, but there is definitely one problem with it, and that is I did not check my grave or banish to realize that all the rest of my rocket guys are out of my deck. So that was a very big misplay on my part. So you're going to see that we're going to return the nice little Kage Tokage. And keep the Recharger and the Rocket Synchron and the King, because we could use the Flow Ghost in the graveyard to send it to the grave. So now we're going to use Saruja, Special Summon, which is such a big misplay. And then we're going to play Pitsy, bring back the Tracer. We're going to use Flow Ghost to send our King to add to hand. Now we're going to go and link them for a Ramen list, so we could actually, the plan was to get the Dragon Ravine so then we could play it and send the Darkest Diabolus so then it gets brought back on its own. Okay, so get Dragon Ravine. Then we're going to use Chaos Ruler to special summon, and we're going to go and activate Chaos Valkyrie to send Omni for our opponent's turn as a little extra thing, since we already have Fairy Tale Snow anyways. Now we're going to link them for a Herodic Seal. Now, this is what I was trying to do, because we did not use Recharge's effect yet. So, Tracer was going to pop King of the Pharaoh Imp, and we're going to special summon a Rocket, recharge the trigger since a Dark Monster from the extra deck was sent to the grave, destroyed. Special summon the Zora, and then we contribute the Seal and the Zora for Erotic Seal that will actually be our first, discard. Also, we could have done Dragon Ravine before the King to send the Flow Ghost to send Darkest Diabolus, so that would have been the 2 cards, and then we were had an extra negate plus with Lancelot. So that was like the whole play, and it was definitely a smart play. It was very easy and manageable to actually do that. Sadly, we did not do that, and actually, it was supposed to be 3. We were able to do 3 hand loops, yeah, and 2 negates. Because with this, that is going to bring the Star Liege, and then we could go and discard the other guy, use Star Liege, get Chaos Lavinier. Yeah, so we could hand loop for 3 and then have 2 negates. So that was the plan. But sadly, it did not work, and you're going to see exactly what happened. So I want to look at the deck, and right off the back, it does not work. It's like so bad, and I was so sad. Oh my god. I don't know why my keyboard's not working quite well. But yeah, so it did not work. We have to put it back. Okay. And we have to use Fairy Tale Snow to banish 7 instead. Still so sad. Get the Fairy Tale Snow, play Dragon Ravine, discard, get Chaos Lavinier to the grave. Now the reason why we're doing that is because when we do a tribute and a little special summoning, we're going to do it with Starly. So now we're going to use King to tribute. So we're going to tribute those 2. He's going to try to trigger his chain over here, but I'm going to tell him like no, because it was not sent from the field of graveyard, because it was used as an XYZ material. So no effect for this guy. So now we're going to go and special summon the Star Liege with Herodic Seal. And with that, we could actually just... There's a few plays that we could do. We could get the extra thing in hand or set up for next turn. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to just try and hand loop a little bit extra, just so we don't have too much to deal with. We still have Fairy Tale Snow engraved. So we're going to go and just do Omega, banish 1, use Star Liege to go add the white, and then banish it for Chaos Lavinier. Special summon the Chaos Lavinier. Now we did get very lucky with our hand loop as well, so we hit the opening and the fusion. So pretty good. We are not making a negate because I don't want them to have an extra materials to use and then we have nothing. So I decided to just leave it like this. And even though we have Fairy Tale Snow over here, we still have King. So if he adds, he has to discard something. So I feel like it was just giving him too much stuff if we actually did the Lancelot. And especially that it's very easy to bait out of the Lancelot. So I thought this was the appropriate play. So now they normal summon the Fairy Tale Snow just to book a King, which we're going to just take. He's going to send and draw. He draw into a Forbidden Droplet. Very nice. Good card. And then he's going to actually pass. So now we are pretty all set. So we're going to get the Omega back. He's going to get the branded opening. Sadly, our King is not face up because King does not matter how you add the card, as long as it's not in the draw phase or the damage step. So when you actually get your card back with Omega, you actually do discard for the King. So having this face up while Omega is returned is quite awesome. So after that, we're going to go into our main phase, flip the King, And then we're going to start trying to OTK. So we're going to use Zora's effect, and we're going to discard the 1-for-1 since we don't really have anything that's actually worth special summoning at the moment. So we're going to be doing that. Then we're going to use Chaos Space to return. Sorry, I forgot what we were going to return, but we're going to see. Oh, Striker. There we go. Okay. Then we're going to go and summon the white. Ah, yes, now I remember. So we're going to go get Striker. So then we're going to go and add a Tracer by popping Striker. And that's going to allow us to actually activate the Rocket Recharger. So we're going to actually special summon a monster for free. So we're going to special summon the one and only Cult. So now we're going to special summon the Black Dragon. And don't forget, we still didn't normal summon. All this was all special summoning. So we're going to go and banish that, special summon, and now we're going to go and make our nice little Savage. And Savage is going to equip the Saruja. So we're going to equip Saruja with a nice little 4 counters, and he's at 4,400. Now we're going to normal summon the Zora, link them for Charmer, only so we could trigger the Zora. So we're going to trigger the Zora. So our opponent's going to have to draw, pick a card, send. We're going to add the Naya and send because we did not have a Naya in our graveyard. So now we do have a Naya in our graveyard. Activate King. They have to send a random card. Instead he picked, but I had to tell him. So randomly we rolled a nice little die. Okay. Now we're using Strike to send the Rocket Tracer to special summon the Curse. And now the reason why we're doing this is because your opponent only special summons when you use his tribute effect. If you special summon him, he just gets the extra effect to special summon an ogdoadic. So by doing this, we guarantee that our opponent doesn't bring something in the graveyard. So we're doing exactly that. Now we're going to use Naya's effect to actually add. So now we're going to add the Water Lily since we do have quite a bit of reptiles in the graveyard. So it's quite fine. So we're going to activate that to banish. Our opponent is going to chain the no, I thought he changed. No, not yet. Oh yeah, there we go. So he's going to activate the Tragedy since it was banished with Omega. We are going to negate because, and the reason why I was negating is because I was scared that this was like another fusion thing, or it could have been, what do you call it, super poly, and he was just holding on to it. So I really didn't want him to have any cards in hand so he could use to benefit more for fusioning. So that's why I actually negated the Tragedy. So I do negate it. He's going to chain Forbidden Droplet, which is fine. So it's going to lose all his counters and everything. Our opponent's still going to add. Now, one thing that a lot of people have to note, Forbidden Droplet halves the attack first, then negates. So the monster's attack becomes half. So he was at 4,400. So now he's at 2,200. Now, a lot of people would think that he's at 15, but that's not how it worked. Wherever attack it was currently at becomes half, okay? And then the effects negated. So that's one key thing that a lot of people have to remember. So now we're going to just activate Water Lily since we do actually have 4 reptiles engraved. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and Overlord would be our 5th. So we get to special summon it for free. Ask if my opponent does anything because of the Fairy Tale Snow. He says no. Since he said no, we are just going to go ham and do the Lancelot. And that is pretty much game because we just attacked. So we have 1850, 2000, 22, 31. Yep, that is definitely over 8,000 life points. So we're going to attack with all that. And we win. And now we're going to go into game 3. So game 3, siding, everything. Now I told you, the side, if you guys seen my side deck, it's very going second, like heavy, board wipes, everything. So it's definitely a very confident win. So our opponent is going to go first. Now what we have is Lightning Storm, Snake Rain, Nunu, Rigeki, and Cyphering Gear Gamma. Now I know some of you are looking at this and saying that this is the nuts. Well, when you side in 15 cards, you expect to see hands like this. So definitely, but also you have to, because a 60 card deck, you definitely need to. Then your opponent has Ash again. Wow, third time in a row have Ash. Nice. Fusion, Patchwork, where is it? Drama. Okay, and Snow again. Good old Snow. So let's see what our opponent can do, especially against a hand like this. So now, when you have a hand like this with a bunch of board wipes and then a Gamma, you're better off just keeping that Gamma for your turn. Have that Gamma for your follow-up play to help support these cards, or even your Snake Rain or Nunu. So keeping that Gamma and not playing it, because right now these are more important to have for like protection. So if your opponent has negates, you could go Rigeki. They chose to negate with a monster, you go Cyphering Gamma. Or if they actually do have multiple negates, even though if you go like Lightning Storm, because some are in attack and they want to negate, and you go Cyphering Gear Gamma and then they negate again, at least you have a free Rigeki as well. So it's very important to have your Gamma to support your board wipes. So we're just going to let him do all his plays. We're not even going to consider playing any cards like at all. So we're letting him like go all out. So we really don't care. We're keeping Gamma for a turn. He goes Polymerization. He goes and makes a nice little Masquerade. Now let me tell you, game 1, going first, if you double Masquerade against this deck, you have a good 90% chance of winning all the time. Like, it's very hard. Like, this is why I did like the change of now maining Overlord again, because against like decks like this, Overlord actually does win games very easily. But before that, when opponent would double Masquerade me, I actually lose, because it's going to take me at least like a good like 40 summons just to actually get rid of the board. So that's pretty much me already losing. So it's very not easy to actually get rid of 2 Masquerades first game. Once I sided, it's very easy to get rid of that. So he's going to do the first one. He's going to trigger all his effects. So the chain, the drama. So drama gets brought out. Chain gets Patchwork. Very nice. He plays the fusion now. So he's going to go and send. And he sends the zombie girl. So the zombie girl could actually get out a zombie world. Now, zombie world against this deck isn't that good. Now, and I'll tell you right, like at regionals, everyone was having Zombie World, and every single person that played Zombie World against me regretted it right away. And the reason why is because, yes, I know I have some stuff that does like for reptiles, okay, that says reptiles, but like look over here. If I control no monster or no ogdoadic, okay, Snake Rain, reptiles, sure. Restriction is like special summoning reptiles, why not? That's pretty much it. Everything else has to do with the attributes, so light and dark, or names. So rockets, ogdoadics. So not so many cards actually have to do with type. Like the stuff that involves with types is probably like Water Lily, sure, and Strike 100%, but I can still get the fullest effect. So it's not really an issue. There's a lot of ways to actually play around the zombie world. So it's not that strong. Like it's not really a good floodgate to have as a priority. It's definitely a good floodgate to have as a support for your other floodgates and negates. Sure, that is completely fine. But to have it as the priority floodgate to try and stop me, that is actually nothing. It won't do anything at all. So I'll just play around it as much as possible, even without the lightning storm. So our opponent is going to pass. We drew into Mystic Mind. Now, you're already seeing how savage this side deck is, okay? This side deck is meant to just go ham, board wipe, or just play like against Flunderies. There's many times that they do the whole board. I go Mystic Mind them, and then I just start playing while they have monsters, and then when I'm ready, I pop my own Mystic Mine with either a Mystic Mine or Chaos Lavinier, you know, just pop it, because Empan, like, statue is easy to get rid of, but Empan also only has to do with stuff with in attack mode. So the link stuff, sure, but don't forget I have a lot of XYZ guys, and also like for synchro monsters as well, and a lot of my monsters have really good effects on their own, so I could actually just spell summon those ones in defense and use the effects just to take advantage of the board and then start hand looping afterwards. So I have done that many times. So definitely Mystic Mine is a good deck, good card. So the first thing that we're going to do is activate our Rigeki, which is nice. So we are going to take 600, so that's fine. He's going to chain, so he's going to do that to banish. Thinking if I want to respond, decided not to, because worst comes to worst, we get a dead Gamma if he has no monster respawn, which is fine. So we're going to go and resolve our Rigeki. Okay, now I said wait because he declared drama, so I want to ask why, and it was just a misclick. So now we're going to use Lightning Storm to get rid of the zombie roll. Did we really have to? Not really, but at the same time, once he uses his Masquerade stuff and all that, most likely he's going to just special summon them in defense, which he should have actually special summon all his monsters in defense because of Lightning Storm. Okay, now for the baiting part, because he does have the nice little Ash, okay, guarantee when you just board wipe your opponent has no choice but to try and negate Snake Rain to survive, and because of doing that, we're going to go Gamma. Now, usually a lot of players will wait till I have a monster before start actually interrupting because of Gamma. They associate this with Dragon Link, which is correct. But in a situation like this, how can you not afford to negate? Now, he negates, and this just makes it a lot worse, because not only that, just for a safety precaution, we're going to go supposed to summon the driver, and then we're going to send 4 reptiles, which is the Nightsword Serpent, the Naya, the King, and the Curse. Okay, so Nightsword Serpent is going to be special summon. And just so we don't have any fear of any other shenanigans, we are going to make a nice little Omega, just in case if our last card that our opponent has is a Nibiru. So by making Omega, we guarantee a nice victory, because he only has 10 cards in the grave, including the Fairy Tale Snow. So he only has 9 cards to actually use for banishing. So that is quite good for us. So we're going to go and use Side Frame, banish the card. Now we're going to go and he forgot to chain the Masquerade, but it's okay, I allow it. It did nothing. So now we're going to go and normal summon the Nunu. I was thinking of using it, but I feel like it would be a lot more beneficial if we actually just normal summon the Nunu, because then we could just bring it back with ease. So now we did that. So our opponent is going to go and banish 7 for Snow, use Snow's effect to Burk or Nunu. And now they only have 1 card, which means... oh yeah, because they brought this back. Okay. Yeah, so now they're going to go and do that. So now we're going to use Curse, because since this was not properly summoned, they cannot spell summon Branded Dragon. So Curse will still be able to spell summon himself, and we don't have to worry about our opponent bringing this out, which is amazing. So we're going to go and send the new. Now our opponent says 600 that we're supposed to pay, and we're just going to ignore that and just keep on playing, because a lot of people forget one thing. This first effect of this guy over here is, while you control this fusion summon card, your opponent must pay 600 life points to activate cards or effect. Now, a lot of players, okay, that I've seen, supposed to summon him with his own effect, and still making their opponent pay 600. If you Monster Reborn him, bring him back, suppose summon him anywhere as long as it was not fusion summoned, your opponent does not have to pay any life points. And a lot of people forget that all the time. So he forgot that, or wasn't aware of it. So I went, wrote, typed it, and then he had to check. So add the Water Lily with Naya. We're going to use Nunu, because we don't know how to use the effect. We just simply normal summoned it. Overlay those two for King of the Pharaoh Imp. And we're going to add the Reptilian Cult. And supposed to summon it because we control a Dark Reptile. So synchro those two. Chaos Ruler. Use Chaos Ruler. And look, Chaos Levineer. Amazing. So now we're going to just banish the 1 Gamma and 2 Rockets to pop both of our opponent's monsters. Very nice. So now, since we do actually have 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, we're going to activate Water Lily to special summon the Overlord. And now we're going to just make our extra negate, which is the Lancelot. And then we're going to attack. And that will be game. Now, there's definitely a lot more stuff that you could definitely do. Like, even after this, okay? Like, we could actually extend for a lot more and do even more negates. But it was no point. Didn't really want to go all out when you should actually always go all out with this deck. But even after, we could just make a Zeus. And by the way, this is actually sided. So I do actually have an Zeus side. So for a game like 2 and 3, it's quite good. And especially for like grind games, it's a very good card. But even like ending a board like this is amazing. You have 1 negate, you have 2 board wipes. So if your opponent actually somehow managed, let's say like getting extra stuff that we have to negate, and then Lightning Storm getting rid of these 2, at least this is still alive. If they have Kaiju, only one of them, we still have the board wipe. This actually comes back, so we have a lot of follow-up plays as well. And that's it for a duel. So we beat Branded Despia. I'll definitely check out more games, maybe show you guys how we play against Flunderies. Sword Soul, not really so entertaining. Like, I feel like it's a very easy matchup, so I won't really attempt. But if it comes up and it's just over there on the ranked duel, sure, I'll record it and definitely do a video about it. But I'll definitely check out, see any good players that play Flunderies, and definitely do a duel showing that. And that's it for today's video. Now, if you guys enjoyed today's video, you know what to do. Like and subscribe. And especially subscribe if you guys want to enter in an amazing giveaway for the playset of Forbidden Droplet. Or if you want a sneak peek of future products we're going to review here on the channel, you can follow me on my Instagram, VaughnGear. I'm Vaughn, and this was the Gear Channel.